Cookin' Chief, I thought I was on one of those other cooking shows today.
I thought you were too.
I swear, I'm so disappointed.
Something like with a clever name like Mi Casa, or with one of those real funny names some of them have now, Bilbus or whatever her name is.
Bilbus?
Yeah.
Is there somebody named that? Well, hi, welcome to Cookin' Chief. It's cake day.
Yes, it is. And Doris left a paperclip on here. Did you leave that, Doris?
Maybe, I'll take it.
Well, anyway, we're going to do cakes. I'm going to do Helen's famous carrot cake, sent in by Helen Wanamaker, Vale of Glenside, Pennsylvania. Well, a lot of people up in Pennsylvania watching this show these days.
And I'm doing an applesauce cake that was sent in by Ms. Cletus Albertson of Bridgeton, New Jersey. And I have to really thank her because this cake looks real, just terrific, real good. And the thing is that she sent it in because you remember about a year ago I was talking about one of the recipes that from my childhood that I had lost was my mama's recipe for applesauce cake. And she sent this in with a little note that says this is probably like the one your mother had, and indeed it is. It's got one thing in it that I don't believe Mama put in it, but she may have done it and just didn't let us know so we wouldn't go,
well, yeah, she never put vodka in anything, as I recall.
No.
This that wasn't it?
For a strange ingredient, but I put it in, and I think it's going to be good. We're going to find out.
All right.
What do you got to do to start out with? I got to cream butter and sugar. So I got 2 sticks of butter and 2 cups of sugar. Hit it.
Well, that was right simple. I got to start out with 2 cups of flour. And indeed, when you make a cake, of course, what is this, 1 cup? It says sift it. This has been pre-sifted, and I'm not sifting anything. Although I could. I have my Aunt Tootsie's old-time sifter. This thing goes back about, you want to see it work? It goes back about 50 years, this old sifter does. Just an old one. It even gives you the cups right on the side of it. So anyway, when you don't want to use it, you turn it upside down like that. That's 1. Here comes the 2nd cup. This is just all-purpose flour I'm using. When it doesn't call for anything otherwise. Doesn't call for self-rising. Just flour. There's 2. And I'm going to tell you, this makes a very, very stiff dough batter, but there's a reason for that, and the reason is because, get rid of some of the stuff, because you're going to add a lot of juicy stuff to it later on. So if you got it too, runny and what have you right now, it wouldn't be good. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 2 teaspoons.
Fresh baking powder. Remember, everybody, when you're doing your baking powder to check the expiration date on it, because it goes bad after 6 months or so, and you need to replace it.
Well, I'm happy to say that this stuff is good into next year. I checked it to find out. 1½ teaspoons of baking soda goes in here. Well, I have just bunged this thing up so bad carrying it around. 1½ give or take a little. Teaspoon of salt. A lot of goodness goes in here. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And as you can see, I like cinnamon. I have the the big boy version of it. Because, I'll be making all those fresh cakes for everybody that I make this year.
Right.
2 goes in there. 2 cups of sugar goes in. Oh, this has got to be good with all the stuff that's in it, especially all that sugar. 2 cups of sugar goes in there. And then in a couple of minutes we'll add all of our wet ingredients, but for the moment I'm just going to mix this around a little bit to distribute it around. Go ahead, Johnson.
All right. Well, I'm still creaming my butter and my sugar, but I want to show you, I'm going to spray my pan. Now, this is a big tube pan. You need a big tube pan. Don't use a small one. It won't work. This makes a lot of batter. This is one that's got the removable thing, and now I'm going to spray it with this product Doris and I both love, Baker's Joy. We have no money in it, no reason except it's great. You spray it on, it's like the other spray stuff, except it's got the flour in it, and it just makes everything a lot easier to do. So I'm going to spray my pan with this and get it real good around the center section, and you just want to spray it really, really good so that when you bake this thing, it will release. I think I inhaled a whole snort of it.
I am drinking.
I'm gonna die.
I'm draining some pineapple.
All right. Now, Bly, let me get back over here to this. Now I want to add to this mixture 4 whole eggs as opposed to 8 half ones. And remember, you want to...
It's hard to find half eggs like you used to could. You could find half eggs.
I know, back in the old days.
Ask your grocer. I'm sure they've had more foolish things asked of them this week.
Probably so. So that's 4 eggs. And now we're going to add the main ingredient, which is 4 cups of applesauce. And because I made this bad boy at home yesterday, as we'll see later on, let me scrape this down a little bit. I know that the jar that I have right here has 4 cups in it.
I'm so proud of him. He got one open on his own.
So I'm going to pour this bad boy down.
Now, what size is that has exactly 4 cups in? That would be helpful.
A 32 ounce, because there's 8 ounces in a cup.
I figured it out, yeah.
4 eighths is 32, so that has it just exactly right on the
It's amazing, isn't it?
And you want to wring it out real good. Just squeeze the jar until you get it all out. And then, goodbye Daisy. All right. And
it's almost goodbye Larry.
Well,
you threw that thing. Huh.
So now this is all of our
pretty,
wet ingredients.
Isn't that a pretty frothy, nice little cake?
Looks good.
Better.
Come on. All right. Now, I'm
throwing that stuff all over the place. I can hear again.
Well, you and somebody else. All right. Now I got to do all my dry ingredients. So if you got something else you want to do, I've got to start here with 4 cups of regular flour.
Okay, I've already mixed all of the stuff around in here with the dry ingredients. Now we've got to put in the wet ingredients. Is 1½ cups of vegetable oil. 1. Greasy cake. Well, where's the half thing? Someone has removed it from this. Oh, there it is. I had one of those that someone stole the 1/2 mark off of. Well, that happens occasionally. And then to that you have to add 2 whole eggs and 2 egg whites. I hate recipes that require 2 whole eggs and a couple of whites. There's a whole. There's 2 of them. And now I got to do just the whites. And you can just get adventurous and do that right over top of the cake. It won't hurt a thing. There we go. Boink. This smells wonderful. I think this is probably a wonderful dessert. Now, we're going to add some more stuff here in a couple of minutes, but for right now, we've got to mix it. And before I start slinging this stuff around with my mixer, I'm just going to mix it a little bit by hand just to get some of the stuff through so that I won't get any of it anywhere.
Don't get any on you.
This really gets stiff before it's over with here. I'm just telling you, it's just the way it is, the way it's supposed to be, apparently.
Doris has pointed out that I've left something out.
Uh-oh.
Here it is, and I'm adding it now.
What is it?
The secret ingredient that Mama, the lovely Louise Bond, never would put into anything, because I hated coffee, still don't like it a lot. 2 tablespoons of freshly brewed coffee. So there it is. And I use some kind of, I don't drink a lot of coffee at home, But I did have a little sample thing that somebody gave me of some real high-powered dark Colombian grind, whatever that is. So I made it up yesterday, and there it is. And let me go back and stir this in.
Talk about your stiff peaks. This don't even want to stay in there. Yesterday, this stuff got wrapped up on my big one at home, and I thought I was going to have to call a plumber in to get it. Look at that thing. And this is a heavy-duty, ultra-power KitchenAid, too. And not only will it not turn off, but I don't think it'll ever run again after I get finished with this.
Now, Larry, let me show you something. I don't mean to make you feel like an ignat, but the Arm and Hammer people, when they make these soda boxes, if you'll notice right here, when you open it up like they say, it has this little unglued piece here, and that's so that when you do your tablespoon...
Oh, I was using that.
You just bring it across there and it cuts it off. This recipe calls for 6 teaspoons of soda, and that's ridiculous if you know that 3 teaspoons make a tablespoon, and so it's really 2 tablespoons. So, boink, this is a lot of soda, but that's what it says. Isn't that right, Doris? Doris, is that right?
Doris seems to be ambivalent about the whole thing.
Well, she's sleepy. All right. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Listen to her. She'll pay for that. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. There it is. And I've got to put in now 1 teaspoon, that's this one right here, of nutmeg. And this is some of the lovely Ann Page variety. 1 teaspoon of the nutmeg. There it is. And then 2 teaspoons, is that of cloves, Doris? Yeah. Oh, I got to put in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon first.
Well, perhaps we just ought to bring Doris in here.
Well, you know,
you seem to be having a part of the time with this
I'm
recipe.
having a hard time. I just want to make sure I do it right.
Well, you don't have to worry. She has never stood back and let you get by with anything. Or me either, for that matter.
All right, there's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon.
I don't want anybody to see me.
And 2 teaspoons of cloves, which I think is right smart, but that's what it calls for. But I love cloves.
And you look good in your clothes, although they're a little tight today.
You know, I made apple butter last week, and it's got a lot of cloves in it. I guarantee anybody that eats this apple butter will not have a toothache. You remember when they used to give you...
I want you to see this. Doris has given me this spatula, and this stuff has set
you
up
didn't break
so
another
much.
one,
No,
did
no,
you?
no. I just want you to see this startling close-up. This stuff is so thick that virtually you cannot get that through it. But there's a reason for that. Now, can I go ahead and add my other stuff?
Well, yeah, I want to add, let me just do this, and then I'm going to sift everything and add it to this mixture. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, and now, Larry, just go ahead and let it rip.
I think I'd like to have a wooden spoon for this portion, because this thing isn't getting it. It's too flaccid for this recipe. So let me put that over there. Thank you. The wooden spoon has just arrived. Thank you very much. Now, the next thing you add to this, you add your good stuff to it at this point, which is 2 cups of raw carrots.
Oh, and I thought you were going to say oysters.
And I pre-grated them. Well, I used oysters in the one we're going to eat today, Laban, but you know, I just didn't like it as well. The oysters just don't set too well with me in cake. But I pre-did that because I had a bunch of them left over in the refrigerator yesterday. I bought for a recipe a week ago, and I wanted to make sure there were enough of them. So I grated them real quick in my food processor, which is a good way to get it done. And then 8.75 ounces of crushed pineapple, and this is a little more than you need. So what you can do is just dump it all in there anyway. What you can do is save some of it back, and it doesn't tell you this, but you can actually put this into your icing, and it is real good. I have a recipe that calls for that. And a cup of chopped nuts go in, nuts of your choice, whatever kind you'd like.
The Doug Clark variety.
Very lovely chopped nuts. And now you're going to mix all of this stuff up. And I'll be doing that for a little while. As you can see, this makes a wad of cake. Laban?
It does, doesn't it? Well, I'm now adding the flour to my recipe, and it's a lot of it. So you just have to keep throwing it in, and you're going to get a real stiff batter over here on this side too.
Okay, your batter will loosen up a little bit on this once you start putting all that other stuff in there. It will be much easier to deal with, and it'll be more like a real true batter, as you can see right now. Once you have mixed in your carrots and your pineapples and your nuts, it now is a very manageable. And what you do at this point, you see that's a much more of a cake type of thing. And what you do is you can take 2 squares and grease them and flour them. Set your oven for 350 degrees and you cook it 40 minutes to an hour. Make sure it pops back up, or take a toothpick, and when it comes out clean, then that's when it's done. And I'm going to make a frosting for it. That's why I'm not doing any more with this right at the moment. Laban?
All right, now Larry, this batter is almost mixed up enough over here to be where we want it. Let me speed it up here. And then we're going to transfer it to another bowl, and we have to do the rest of it by hand because this batter is so thick. All right, there we go. Now let me see. Let me reach up under here and find the magic switch. There it is. And try to poke some of this down in here. And I'm going to transfer it over to this incredibly huge bowl that we have.
While you're doing that, I'm going to cream some butter. This is for the cheese, cream cheese frosting, some butter and some softened cream cheese. And I've had it in this bowl for a while so it would get soft. Just one of these little containers of cream cheese. And we're going to work into that a teaspoon of pure vanilla and a whole thing of 10x sugar, a box of it. So I got to get going on that. Otherwise, we won't have anything to eat on it. Oh, that's nice and soft. That's working lovely.
Well, there, as you can see, I now have all of my batter into the bowl, and I've got to start adding other, oh, would you look at this? They have sealed the raisins up like a peanut can. Good grief. What does that mean? What are you laughing about?
I need exactly one more arm and hand that I currently have. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start working this sugar out here now, just a little at a time.
Oh, for Pete's
I'm going to work
sakes.
as much in as I have time to. Isn't that pretty?
Running out of time.
Because we're running out of time, that's right. Yep.
I got to get 2 cups of raisins in here, and I don't think I'm ever going to make it. These raisins are stuck in here tighter than Dixie. What were they thinking of when they squashed these raisins in here?
I don't know, but this
I'm
is
gonna
as
call
close
it-
to this as I'm going to get.
I'm going to call the Del Monte people up and tell them to give them a piece of my mind. This is ridiculous.
I'm going to go on ahead and put some icing on this so we have something to enjoy later. As you can see, this makes a real nice, very, very beautiful creamed cheese icing. Oh, doesn't that look good? Could have had more sugar, but we're running out of time, and that's your first layer. And the second layer is stuck permanently to the plate, ladies and gentlemen. It will not. Here we go. Don't get nervous. I think I should have put the other side down. Well, that's close enough for this show. Okay, so we'll put this on top. And if you put a lot of it on the side, you won't notice that I put the wrong one at the wrong spot. Well, we're in a hurry.
Oh, I've got, golly Moses, I've got currants all over the place. Do you know I had a terrible time? There were no currants in 2 of the grocery stores I attended on Saturday to get this stuff. So I had to go to the food co-op, and they had it.
Well, that's nothing. The store I went into didn't have any currant. It was just totally dark.
Oh no.
Well, anyway.
Well,
she does it, babe. Perhaps it never was.
One of the stores I went into yesterday had no heat. They were remodeling, and they'd turned off the heat.
Well, that's nothing. One of them that I went into.
All right, now
Never mind.
I've got
Never mind.
raisins and I've got currants, and for you people that live in weird places, Currants are little bitty, teeny weeny kind of raisiny things, but they're not raisins.
Now,
And-
as you can see, this is while he's doing that. This is a very lovely presentation, ladies and gentlemen. You just know that it is just pretty beyond belief. So it doesn't meet.
Now,
Just exactly right.
If everybody will cast their eyes over here, I have this enormous bowl of batter and raisins and nuts, and good grief, crime and Nintleys, that's a mess.
Well, I didn't put it on right.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. But anyway, you have to
That's
stir
good.
up. You stir up all of your nuts and your raisins into this thing, and then you're going to put it in your cake tin. Oh no!
Can we give the recipes
Yes,
while you're
quickly.
doing that? The Helen's Famous Carrot Cake, 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1½ teaspoons baking soda, teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 cups of sugar, 1½ cups vegetable oil, 2 whole eggs plus 2 egg whites, 2 cups of raw grated carrots, 8.75 ounce crushed pineapple drained, and a cup of chopped nuts.
And the Ms. Cletus Albertson's applesauce cake calls for 2 cups of regular sugar, a cup of butter or margarine, 4 whole eggs, 4 cups of applesauce, 4 cups of regular flour, 2 tablespoons of perk coffee, 6 teaspoons of soda, that's 2 tablespoons, a teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of raisins, 2 cups of currants, 2 cups of nuts, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, 2 teaspoons cinnamon, 2 teaspoons cloves, and 1/2 teaspoon of allspice. How about that?
You ready to turn that bad boy in there?
Yes. Would you help me? Would you hold this while I...
You want me to hold the big
pour?
old thing?
Well, we just want to get it down in here because I do want to take this home with me and bake it at home, so I will have it, you know, to start the new year off with and all that kind of stuff.
I think it'll be the new year before we get it in there. Well, you can finish that up in a second.
Okay, and let's send the witch in.
You can put the rest in.
Yeah.
It's real pretty. That's
It's
what it
a
looks
lot of
like.
it,
Here
too.
she comes. Hey!
Boink. All right. Oh, no. What did she drop?
I sent her into camera number 3.
Oh, here she comes
Let her
back
fly
again.
around. We don't have time.
All right. Well, anyway, dear guys, Muffy found these recipes for
Muffy.
party foods pasted under the top of the tank for the water closet in our new old house, which was built in the early 1900s. We frankly don't think that chopped fillet of raccoon would be good, and the Abe Lincoln tripe fritters are likewise unacceptable. Can you give us party food for the 90s? Thanks so much. Cordially, LaRue and Muffy Billingsley of Upper Lower, Pennsylvania.
All right, let's
Now
go over
we'll
here and
try.
try some of this cake. What do you say? Doris has made a very lovely. What kind of cake is that, Doris?
I didn't know she made one. Oh,
Yes.
she did.
Uh,
Yes,
all
I'm
right,
going to squeeze in now.
All right, well, come on around in here between us. Oh, I can't get the top off.
Well, I'm going to try mine because we're liable to never taste
Oh.
anything before we go off the
I
air.
can't get the top off of this thing. I put it in this high-class carrier, and I can't get it out. There it
It
is.
has been sealed for our protection. Oh, my cake is fabulous. It really is. This is one great cake. What kind is that, Doris?
It's called a sorry cake, and it's got cranberries in it that I had to quarter.
Ooh, it's so
I had to
pretty.
cut 'em
Oh,
up
that's...
and quarter.
Look at that.
And it's also got shredded wheat in it.
I love it.
Well, Doris,
You know, I love cranberries.
and we've got the recipe for it in our...
It's in the cookbook.
It's in our book that we're... It's not a book. It's our...
Recipe
thing that
sheet.
our recipe sheets, and if you watch the addresses coming up in a minute, you can get all these cake recipes.
I'm the only
there.
one who's got tasting. I've eaten everything in sight. That is a good cake, Laban.
How is this apple?
That is a good cake, Doris. This is a good cake, Larry. We have 3 wonderful cakes.
Oh boy, this is so moist and rich.
All of this stuff is.
Mama, God love you. Thanks. Your recipe has come back, and thank you, Cletus.
We haven't tried any of mine, Johnson.
Oh no!
Give it a try and see what you think of it. I think it's wonderful myself. It's the best cake I ever made. Well, it's real ugly, but it's pretty. But it's all right. Bye.
Thank goodness there are no maggots in here. All right.
For this season's recipes, send $4.95 plus $2.50 postage and handling to WBRA TV, Cookin' Cheap, 1500 series.